Hello, high level listeners. What if improving your English was as simple as listening to a short story in English? Today's short story is about looking on the bright side, even when things don't go as planned.
Yes, it's very interesting. Today, we're going to share an English short story that will help train your ears to understand naturally spoken English while also giving you something to think about.
And if you enjoy learning this way, you can get our English stories book with lots more stories just like this one to help you improve your listening and reading at the same time. Check that out in the link in the description below.
Okay, here we go with today's story.
Have you ever had one of those mornings where everything seems to go wrong before the day has even started? That was exactly how my day began. My alarm was supposed to go off at 7 a.m., but when I suddenly opened my eyes and looked at my phone, the screen displayed a terrifying 7:43. I jumped out of bed immediately. I had a crucial job interview at 9 a.m., and I still need to shower, get dressed, and catch the bus across town. I stood there staring at the wall, trying to calculate how much time I had left. Okay, calm down, I told myself. You can still make it if you hurry. I rushed into the bathroom, feeling that uncomfortable pressure that comes when the day starts faster than you can keep up with it. I scrubbed my face, threw on my best suit, and tried to ignore the fact that my hair wasn't looking quite as neat as I had hoped. Things didn't get much better in the kitchen. I wanted a quick cup of coffee for the energy and to help me feel more focused. Unfortunately, as I grabbed the mug and turned toward the door, I moved too quickly and bumped the counter. Half of the coffee spilled across the tiles and dripped onto my shoes. For a second, I just stood there, wondering if the morning could possibly get any worse. Perfect, I muttered with a tired laugh. I cleaned it up quickly, grabbed my bag, and hurried out the door, hoping the rest of the trip would go smoothly. The bus stop was only 2 blocks away, so I walked quickly, almost jogging. As I turned the final corner, I could see the stop ahead. For a moment, I felt hopeful, but just as I got close enough to see the doors, the bus slowly pulled away from the curb. I watched it disappear, feeling the last bit of my optimism go with it. You've got to be kidding me, I said quietly. The next bus wasn't coming for another 20 minutes. Several other people were already waiting, and they were just as frustrated. One man was pacing back and forth, checking his phone, while a woman kept glancing down the street as if the bus might suddenly appear. The pacing man sighed loudly. Public transportation in this city is terrible. A few people nodded. Someone else added, "It's always like this when you're in a hurry." I leaned against the pole and tried to relax, but my thoughts were racing. What if I arrived late? What if they thought I wasn't responsible? What if they gave the job to someone else because I couldn't manage my time? While I was worrying, I noticed an older man sitting quietly on the bench. He looked completely relaxed, watching the cars pass by. After a few minutes, he looked over and smiled. "Looks like it's one of those mornings," he said. I laughed a little. "Yeah, that's definitely one way to describe it." He tilted his head. "Running late?" I nodded and admitted, "I have a job interview and I already missed the bus I needed." The man listened carefully. "You know," he said, "when I was younger, mornings like this used to ruin my entire day." "Hey, same," I said. "It feels like everything is already going wrong." The man chuckled softly. "Maybe," he said calmly, "or maybe something else is happening. Sometimes the thing we think is a problem is actually giving us time to notice something important. When life slows you down unexpectedly, it gives you a chance to see things you might have missed." He continued, "We're always rushing, but sometimes the delay is just life reminding us to slow down." I smiled politely, though I wasn't convinced. Slowing down was the last thing I wanted. As he looked up at the sky, he added, "Besides, you never know. Sometimes bad luck turns out to be good luck later."
Just a few minutes later, something happened that made me remember those words clearly. While I was still waiting, my phone suddenly rang. I noticed the number wasn't familiar, but I answered anyway. Hello? I said. Hi, this is Laura from the company you're interviewing with today. I straightened up. Oh, hello, I said, feeling nervous again. Laura explained that there had been a change. There's some unexpected construction at our office building today, she said, so we've moved the interviews to another location. I felt my stomach drop. Laura explained that the new building was on Maple Street instead of River Street. I immediately opened the map on my phone. As I studied it, I realized something incredible. If I had caught the earlier bus, the one I'd just missed, it would have taken me directly to River Street. I would have arrived at the wrong building without knowing the interview had been moved. By the time I found a way to Maple Street, I would have been very late. But the next bus, the one I was currently waiting for, stopped just 2 blocks away from the new location. Missing the first bus had actually saved me from a massive mistake. Yes, that works perfectly, I said. Thank you for letting me know. I lowered my phone and stood there while everything sank in. Then I turned to the older man. He was watching me with a small smile, as if he already knew. Everything all right? He asked. I walked closer. Actually, yeah, I said. I explained the phone call. If I'd caught the earlier bus, I would have gone to the wrong place. The man chuckled. Well, seems like your bad luck wasn't really bad luck after all. The bus finally arrived. Before getting on, I turned back and said, Thanks for the conversation earlier. The man waved and said, Good luck with your interview. As the bus drove across the city, I watched the streets pass by. The late alarm, the spilled coffee, and the missed bus had all felt like disasters. Yet somehow, those small problems had led me exactly where I needed to be. By the time I arrived, I felt much calmer. Instead of rushing in, stressed, I walked in, feeling prepared. The interview went well, and the conversation flowed naturally. When it ended, the interviewer smiled and said they would be in touch soon. Later that afternoon, as I walked home, I thought again about the older man's words. Sometimes the thing we think is a problem is actually giving us time to notice something important. That morning had started as a nightmare, but it ended as a reminder. Not every delay is a mistake. Sometimes life slows you down so you can arrive exactly where you're supposed to be.
Okay, so that's very interesting to think about.
Yeah, did that story help you relax and practice your listening? If it did, tell us in a comment more English stories below, and let us know if you'd like to hear more English stories just like this one.
And we'll see you soon for our next English short story very soon.
Bye bye.